To a magician, there's very little difference between a mirror and a door. This quote by Susanna Clarke is like chef's kiss in the way that it perfectly encapsulates today's video. Let's talk about the energies. Let's talk about the madness of 2025. Let's talk about the fact that we are on the edge of greatness and all the things that come with the stakes being so high. Hello New Earth Architect, welcome. My name is Natasha. This is Temple of Akasha, the home of embodied spirituality, integrated awakening, and New Earth architecting. It is a delight to be here with you today. Before we dive into our video, a quick reminder to like and subscribe if you are not already subscribed to the channel and you resonate with my content. I'm also delighted to announce that my new course, The 5 Pillars of Self-Love, is now available to purchase. If you purchase the pre-sale, you've been sent a link for you to access the course. So if you haven't received that, please check your spam. And if you're ready to dive into a framework that's going to support you as a sensitive, pioneering soul with radical embodiment, radical reformation of your understanding of love, really bringing you back to the heart of what real love is, because it's only from there that you can actually cultivate true self-love. If you're looking for a process that's going to guide you every step of the way through the embodiment of your truth, this framework, this course is for you. The course comes with a 150-page plus workbook. It's full of journaling prompts as well as embodiment practices and lots of teaching content on the framework for you to really understand it, really get into the nuances of it, alongside video teaching modules. And with every pillar of the framework that I share, which is what I've been developing for 3 years, there is an integration practice for you to actually become embodied in this pillar. So you don't just understand it cognitively, but you start to embody the wisdom. I am ridiculously proud of this offering. I'm really proud of this creation. It has really poured from my direct experience of nearly 10 years on this journey as a highly sensitive, multidimensional being who has really struggled to straddle the material and the spiritual. And my journey has taken me into really weaving the two, and it's an ongoing process for me. But this framework that I've developed has taken me from being someone with a really dysregulated nervous system, who was really ungrounded, really non-functional, with really terrible relationships 10 years ago, you know, really just disconnected from self-worth, self-love, had such poor confidence and low self-esteem, disconnected from the divine. This framework and this process that I've taken myself through and then developed as a result of it, this process has changed my life, and more than anything, it's changed my relationship with myself, so that I am now beginning to build a life that is on unshakable foundations. It is time to decondition from and deconstruct the maladaptive programming and all of the ways in which we have, on some level, assumed within ourselves that we are severed from the divine, disconnected from love, not worthy, not enough. This is all bollocks. It's all bullshit programming. We are rapidly evolving, and it's time to evolve beyond this programming now, so we can actually embody and inhabit our role as creators here on earth on behalf of the divine. So I really recommend this course for anyone that's looking for a supportive framework and to really move into deeper self-love, deeper embodiment, and deeper marriage of the human and divine aspects of themselves. Okay, with that said, let's dive into today's video. So according to the Gregorian calendar, we have now stepped across the threshold and we are in 2025. And the energy that I feel for this year is wild. We're in for a wild ride this year. So we're going to speak a little bit about the energies. I'm also going to be touching on New Earth architecture coming online. And then we're going to just close up with really honing in on what are the golden opportunities here. What are we really being asked to do at this time with these wild energies abound? What is the cosmic invitation for us? What is the divine invitation for us? So to start with, my intuitive sense of the energies of 2025. I feel as though this year is going to be like a year-long eclipse season. Now, if you're familiar with astrology, you'll know that eclipses are wild cards. Astrologically, they're windows of time that look to really create radical shifts so that we're moved away from karmic timelines and we're actually redirected into more harmonious timelines for ourselves. But the way in which that can happen can often feel quite jarring, can often feel very disruptive. It feels like this year is just one long eclipse season. That's how intuitively throughout December I started to feel these energies that we're moving into. And from what I've looked into so far, the astrology confirms that this is a massive shake-up year. All of the outer planetary bodies in our solar system are shifting signs. So this is a really big deal. It's quite unprecedented to have all of the outer planets which are generational planets, changing in the same year, changing sign in the same year. So the energetic influences that are present this year are really transformative. The first word that came through when I was feeling into 2025 was magnitude. And I feel like just sitting with that word for a moment, magnitude, the connotations of that, the vibration of that, this is a big year. It feels like a year that's going to just be throwing us curveballs. It feels very Uranian. Uranus is associated with electricity, the Kundalini. It's very electric, and I feel that it's kind of like tower moments. You know, there's a lot of like disruption that can come with Uranian energy. I feel this year to be electric. That's honestly how I'm feeling it. Like I see a lightning bolt when I feel into 2025, and I feel that this is going to be a year that just expect the unexpected, and it's going to require us to put our magician hats on, as I mentioned in the quote at the beginning of this video, to get into alchemist mode, which is what we've been preparing for, so that we can approach our experiences with much more awareness and really with a view to anchoring in our capacity as creators instead of victims of our reality. The imagery that I keep seeing with regards to this year is Olympic sailing teams. I don't know if you've ever seen Olympic sailing teams in action, but the Olympic sailing teams are like another level. You know, they're out on their boats. Sorry if that's an insulting way to call the Olympic sailing boats. I don't know what they're actually called. But they tend to be like sort of hanging off the edge of their boats, leaning and really just kind of like cutting through all this surf and all of these different kinds of currents. And it's just, you know, it takes a lot of skill. And to be surfing waves like that and to be really doing it with kind of grace and precision and agility requires tremendous skill. It requires you to be kind of Olympian in your standards, right? This is what I'm feeling for this year. You have qualified, dear alchemist, to join the Olympic sailing team. So the stakes are higher. You know, the waters are wild, and you have to take everything that you have been learning, all of the training, and it's time to implement it all now. It's time to become a master sailor. And I feel that we're going to need these navigation skills that we've been developing throughout our awakening process for this year and beyond, because it really feels that the changes that have been gradually seeping into, you know, societal structures and collective consciousness, they're going to start really becoming very apparent. They're going to become very tangible. They are going to be very disruptive. That's honestly how I feel it. And our path, on a genuine spiritual path, is always preparing us to become more adept at meeting whatever comes in life with awareness. I think one of the more kind of naive perspectives on the spiritual path, which I certainly held at one point, was that when you're on a spiritual path and you go on your spiritual awakening journey, life will just get easier. Life will get easier, you know, you won't attract situations that are hard or difficult. Of course, this is delusion. We live in a world of duality. There's death and rebirth and change and transformation always. There's no getting away from that. There's no getting away from life on earth, especially at this point. We've come in for a time of immense change and transformation. So it's not about trying to control or negate life circumstances when we're on our spiritual path. It's about becoming adept at meeting whatever life throws at us, whatever we're encountering, with a higher level of awareness, and really allowing the aspect of our consciousness, the divine aspect of our consciousness that is untouched by material reality, to take the lead, to not be governed by conditional reality, as I've spoken about in many videos, but to actually recognize that the true self is unconditional, untouchable, and unchanged by whatever circumstances occur on earth. And so we really engage in our spiritual path not to avoid the pain, the challenges, the binaries of life on earth. This is just the way things are for now. We come here first to embody the change, first to embody a more harmonized, coherent, congruent state of consciousness, one that is not swayed or influenced by the tides, by the waves of life. We have come first to master our consciousness in a world that is very tumultuous, very volatile, which has a lot of elements that can draw us out of our center and out of our true state. And then when we start vibrating in that way, the world around us starts to change. And this is the time we're in right now, where all of your self-mastery, everything that you have been learning, integrating, alchemizing on your journey thus far, all of it will be put to good use in 2025. And you will have your chance as an Olympic sailor to surf choppy waters. But what I see in this image, when I see this kind of Olympic sailing team image, what I see with this is not that it's really arduous. I actually see us smiling through this process. If you are not a seasoned navigator of the seas and you are not an adept sailor, and I'm sure there's another word for sailor, but I can't think of it right now. But if you're not adept at that sport, going out on the open waters on an Olympic sailing boat is going to feel like hell, right? You're going to probably get whipped about and it's going to feel crazy and it's going to feel really disorientating. But when you've trained for this, when you have prepared for this, you can take what would potentially be a cause for suffering and a cause for great disharmony, but actually it becomes a source of great joy. It becomes a source of exhilaration. It becomes a source, this kind of medium of sailing, choppy waters, it becomes a source of you really rising into your mastery and actually getting to enjoy the process. And this is reflected in anyone that does an extreme sport. To those of us that aren't adept at those sports, we probably, really injure ourselves during those experiences. But to the people that have mastered them, they get such a thrill. There is so much joy to be found in the mastery of their craft. You have been preparing for this year and beyond. And now, this year, it's time to apply it. It's time to apply everything that you know. It's time to apply everything that you've embodied. It's time to remember your true nature and the true nature of love, the unconditional nature of love, which I've been speaking about a lot on this channel recently, and I speak a lot about in my new course. It's really time to remember the unconditional aspect of your consciousness, because that is where your power lies. That's where your wisdom resides. That's where your awareness resides. When you choose to move from and when you choose to approach life as the awareness, as the loving awareness, not just being identified with the avatar and the mind and the body, but as the awareness fueling the mind and the body. So the true aspect of yourself is not touched by whatever the mind-body experience is. Then you start to remember your innate capacity as a creator. And with this, I just want to talk about the new earth architecture that's coming online really rapidly right now, which undoubtedly, if you're on this channel and you resonate with or feel a lot of connection to what I share, then you would have undoubtedly been feeling this or sensing this on some level as well. There is a huge system upgrade underway, a huge system upgrade. December for me was just the most quantum, cosmic, multidimensional, initiatory month of last year, and definitely one of the most intense, transformative months I've had in many years. And that's saying something, because I've had quite a few intense months over the last few years. It really was like an alchemical chamber, December. And what happens when we start to enter these times of immense alchemy, where we are faced with external or internal challenges, obstacles, things that can really trigger us, things that can really disturb us, things that can really unsettle us, that really disrupt the established structures of the ego. When we are faced with those things, we have two choices. We can either choose to view those things as a problem, or we can see them as the opportunity they are to expand, to remember, to reawaken to more mastery, to bring more love into our lives, into this experience. And this is why the quote at the beginning of the video is so apt, For a magician, there's very little difference between a mirror, so whatever's being reflected to you in your life, and a door. Because when you're empowered and when you remember yourself as a creator, you recognize that your external reality is just giving you an opportunity to see your allness with more clarity. It's giving you an opportunity to see, where am I not in empowerment? Where am I not in unconditional love? Where am I not in my capacity as a creator? Where am I not taking self-responsibility? And all of a sudden, that reflection becomes a doorway and a portal to you becoming more masterful with your energy, for you to become more coherent, more integrated, for you to rise into your sovereignty. I just love this quote so much. I've only heard it today for the first time, and I feel like I need to print it and plaster it everywhere. It's just brilliant. And this shift that I'm speaking about, this kind of shift as the alchemist, as the magician, who can take and transform matter or substance of whatever kind, content, from one thing and transform it into something divine, something uplifting, something empowering, something that is really honoring the true nature. These are the capacities that are coming online really strongly right now. So there's a very quantum, cosmic, multidimensional, non-linear, lots of stuff around time speeding up, time slowing down, time feeling really non sequitur, gaps in time, lots of stuff around time. Our experience of reality is changing, essentially, because our consciousness is changing and we are vibrating differently. So our experience of reality, which has been kind of very linear and structured up until this point, is going to start becoming a lot more non-linear, which is much more reflective of the true nature of reality, that we are experiencing the infinite now. There is no start or end, there is no time. Time does not exist in the infinite now. So we are starting to move into more recognition, consciously or unconsciously, of the singularity. So you may be noticing new capacities, altered states of consciousness coming online. You may be sensing, hearing, feeling, seeing, connecting with your experience in different ways. You may have more rapid realizations coming through. You may be able to move through content more quickly or come into more awareness of what you're experiencing more quickly. There is a profound shift happening when it comes to our belief systems, when it comes to our ways of being, our perceptions, the paradigms we operate from. There is a real energy of kind of karmic purge at the moment, at the time of filming this especially. And so this is also tied into this shift in paradigm and belief system that's occurring, because we are really starting to touch on very core essential content of our being that perhaps we haven't been conscious of before, and we're seeing very, very vivid, very tangible, very obvious reflections of that content within ourselves, so that we can finally clear it. So it's really like getting to the deeper layers of the onion now. We're seeing what those inner layers are made of that have been shielding and obscuring our connection to our divinity and to our true nature, and we're going to be feeling impulses to make those changes now. Perhaps in the past we would have kind of ignored the changes that need to be made. Now it's so close to the kind of raw essence of our being that we can't ignore it anymore, that we can feel that this is just not in congruence. This is too at odds with the nature of my being. I wasn't aware before, I am now. I can't unsee what I've seen. This is the karmic purging that's happening. There is a lot of disillusion as a result of this. There's a lot of things breaking down, whether that's relationships, structures in society, systems, even health. Anywhere where the foundation has not been truly in alignment, hasn't been in congruence with the truth, all of these things will dissolve. It doesn't matter what form it takes externally or internally. Those things will dissolve if they're not built on a foundation of truth. So as these old structures, these old systems, these old ways of being start to really collapse, and that becomes more apparent within ourselves, in the collective, what is happening is that in the space that's being created is, the way I see it is almost like neural networks are coming online. New neural networks are coming online within us, and within collective consciousness, and within the Earth's grids too. And these neural networks, these neural pathways, they are carrying the information, the blueprint of the new Earth architecture, which is us vibrating, living, embodying, emanating in the world in a very different way to what we've been used to on earth. It is love-centered, it is heart-centered, it is beyond the warring ways of the ego. It is crystalline. I keep seeing it as crystalline structures within the earth, within our own being. We are moving into these kind of clarifying states. There is just this real emphasis on technology in the age of Aquarius, and that is not just physical technology, it's not just innovations and products, it's innate technology, your light body, the kundalini coming online. These innate technologies within us, which really carry the kind of blueprint for our organic architecture and our capacities, our psychic capacities, our supernatural capacities, these aspects of our consciousness are coming online as these neural networks are re-established, as we start to remember, the earth starts to remember, the collective starts to remember. And the key to making sure that these neural networks are established, anchored on earth, that this becomes not just a potential that we can feel, but is really anchored as a reality, is our capacity to be the magician, to be the alchemist, that sees that a mirror is actually a door, that doesn't take reality as at face value at a superficial level anymore. We start to recognize our innate capacity as creators and alchemists to transform the content that has been limiting us into states that liberate us. This is really the key. 2025 is going to demand this of us for our evolutionary process. Doing what we've always done is no longer good enough. This time period we're in is going to force us to evolve beyond doing what we've always done, because we don't want to repeat the results we've already got. The earth in its current state does not honor our potential. It doesn't honor our actual capacity as creators. It doesn't honor the sacred and the divine. It doesn't honor communion with each other and with the earth. These times will force radical change, and you have all that you need, all of the tools, all of the awareness to navigate this change, but you must apply these tools. You must apply your highest wisdom now. It's now time to take everything that you know and to embody it, apply it, be relentless with your consistency and your devotion to the application of your tools, your practices, your embodied wisdom. And most importantly, in my opinion, is to keep love, unconditional love, the center and place of orientation of all that we do. All that we do, because there are going to be times of tremendous tension. There are going to be times where we're going to feel the polarization as things start to fragment more and more as they break down. It's really important that we stay connected to love and to the heart, and that we do whatever work we need to do to make sure that the heart space is clear and open and accessible to us, so that we can connect with our unconditionally loving hearts and we can be guided by them. No longer guided by, the kind of Gemini-like quality of the mind, which really works in kind of dualities, the kind of Gemini-like nature of the mind. It's time to come into greater coherence within ourselves. It's time to apply the mastery that we've been developing through our life experiences. And this is not an exclusive thing. Every single being has the opportunity to come into states of self-mastery within themselves, and that's going to look different for everyone. For me, self-mastery is really you coming into states of your most authentic and embodied presence. So I hope this has been a valuable sharing. I hope this has been a valuable transmission. I'm sending you so much love for 2025. I truly believe it's going to be a magnificent year, a wild, magnificent year. I look forward to sailing the waves with you, and I look forward to connecting with you again in the next transmission.